Naomi, thank you. Well, there's been a lot of noise about net zero of late and its cost, so let's quickly recap on how we found ourselves here and what the term refers to. The objective, in essence, is to try and balance the amount of pollution we put into the atmosphere with the amount we take out. This can be achieved by transitioning to renewable energy and sources like wind and solar, which can be expensive. Low emission fuel and planting more trees helps too to suck up more carbon. Australia has committed to reducing our pollution by 43% by 2030. This year, the government pledged a further reduction of up to 70% by 2035 to eventually achieve net zero by 2050. The Labor Party has fully committed. The coalition, however, is split. The Nationals agreed to stop supporting that 2050 target, but the Liberals are yet to confirm their stance. That brings us to today, with the Liberal Party meeting to firm up their position. Liberal Senator Jane Hume joins us live now from Canberra with more on this. Jane, good morning to you. Good to see you this Wednesday. So is it a bit cold in the net zero camp?
Not at all, Sarah, sorry, forgive me. Not at all. In fact, we know in the Liberal Party that you can, in fact, lower electricity prices, but also lower emissions at the same time. That doesn't need to be a mutually exclusive goal. It just doesn't take Labor's crazy, expensive, ideological approach to reaching net zero to get there, because Australian businesses and Australian households are paying the price for that. There is an Australian way to deliver cleaner, cheaper and reliable energy. That's what the Liberal Party is going to be discussing today.
But you are in the minority, aren't you, Jane?
No, that's not at all the case. In fact, there's an amazing amount of consensus around the Liberal Party room. We all agree that Labor's approach is pushing up energy prices and that it's Australian businesses and households that are paying the price. That's not the way to reach a low emissions future.
But isn't it, Senator, just to clarify, I mean, it was the coalition that initially committed to net zero by 2050. That was Scott Morrison and Barnaby Joyce. They've since pulled out because they said it was too expensive. So you disagree with that?
We think that the renewables rollout that Labor has done has actually pushed energy prices up, and it's done so at the expense of those regional and rural communities. That, you know, these projects don't have a social licence. They haven't had the appropriate amount of community consultation. And now those communities are being blanketed with solar farms and transmission wires that simply aren't acceptable. There is other ways, but we need to make sure that we take a path to a lower emissions future that Australians can get on board with, that understand that in the long term that's going to bring down their energy prices. It's going to involve more gas in the system. It's going to involve opening up to new technologies like nuclear technologies. We need to wind back the corporate welfare, because at the moment we're propping up companies that simply should be able to pay for themselves in their own transition to net zero. And we need to make sure that we're investing in new technologies, not proven technologies. Those proven technologies are ubiquitous. They're available right now. People are adopting them on their own. But we need to forge our own pathway to a cleaner, reliable energy future that can lower emissions as well.
It's good to see that you are all in on this policy and this strategy, and you've articulated it very well there. But, Senator, the issue is you haven't done enough to articulate this to the rest of the country. This has been so divisive over the past few weeks and months, and nearly now a third of Aussies want the policy dumped, according to a new poll in The Age. How will that factor into today's decisions? The Nationals have been very convincing about their claiming that this is about Australia, not about net zero.
Sarah, that same poll said that more than 54% of Australians want us to keep a net zero ambition. That's really important. Australians want a clean emissions future. Who doesn't want to lower emissions? Everybody wants to lower emissions. The question is at what cost and which pathway we take.
Well, the Libs don't want that. The coalition doesn't want that. That's the problem, Senator.
Can I tell you that Liberals absolutely want to see a cleaner, a lower emissions future. They just want to forge an Australian way, our own pathway there, not one that's dictated to us from overseas and not one that's dictated to us by ideology that the Labor Party is implementing, because that's seen your energy bills increase by around 40% and it's seen our industrial base hollowed out. That means fewer jobs and fewer opportunities for the next generations. We can do both. We just have to forge our own pathway there.
You're in the Senate, so I suppose this matters a little bit less to you. But are you worried that if you kiss net zero goodbye, you're also going to kiss goodbye all those inner city seats that you've lost to the Teals?
It's not just inner city seats, it's also those suburban and provincial seats too. They're telling us that they want to see a lower emissions future as well. That said, they're also saying that they want lower energy prices. There is a limit to how much people will pay for a net zero future. We've been saying that from the start. Susan Lee's been very clear. We want to see a low emissions future, but not at any cost. We need to find our own pathway there. It is possible. That's what the Liberal Party are going to be discussing today.
Susan Lee, though, has been less clear on where she sits in terms of this debate. This is going to be a very consequential meeting for her today. Does she survive as leader?
Well, Susan has been consistent from the very beginning that she wants to consult with her party, with her team, and make sure that we find our way forward, not Labor's way forward. It's not about adopting Labor's way or abandoning Labor's way. It's about finding the Liberal way forward. That's going to mean that lower energy bills for Australians, businesses stay open, a clean emissions and a clean energy future and lower emissions.
Is today's meeting about net zero or about Susan Lee?
No, today's meeting is about our energy policy. That's the most important thing, our energy policy and also our climate policy, because Australians want a cleaner climate, but they also want lower energy prices.
All right.
We can do both.
Good luck, Senator. Appreciate your
Thanks,
time
Sarah.
this morning. Thank you.